So, you know, if anybody bitches and complains, oh, they only paid us this low amount of money, it's like, be happy you got that, because I didn't get anything, and I worked 1,000 hours more. Just saying. You know, dance, you don't make money at it. How does anybody make money at dance? You do it because you love it. And I love the community, so I wanted to contribute, right? Anyway, so we're being poisoned in our apartment. We had to leave. We left, and we've been living in our car with an occasional hotel here and there, or being able to stay with friends and family. So we stayed with my husband's mom, and we were just there visiting, really. We had never lived with them. They have housed their family, you know, not us, but my husband's sister's kids and all of them. I'm not putting them down, but they were saying that, you know, that they'd lived there for years and years and years, and they didn't pay a dime, and yet we were buying our own food when we were on vacation, kind of vacation, loosely used, visiting there, and we didn't even stay there for 2 weeks. We were there for like 8-9 days, and, you know, we needed to stay longer, obviously, because look how long this went. It should never have gone this long, and it did. And so they didn't want me staying there anymore. I defended my husband because they wanted us to buy that crappy trailer they were renting, and it was being poisoned with this dust. It was the same thing that happened in our Las Vegas home. The air ducts were not good and blowing in all the dust from outside, and I'm like, this is bad. We're getting sick from this, you know, allergies and stuff. And they got very upset with us, and we felt like there was surveillance piped in throughout the whole thing because the electricity wasn't working right. It was a drain. There's a drain on our SUV. There's a drain on our apartment. So we know that there's, you know, surveillance being run off of our own electricity. And so anyway, we didn't want to buy it. There was so much wrong with it. And it was my husband who said, no, we're not buying it. And they used that against me. And they said, Noelle, you turned down this perfectly good place. We were going to buy it for you outright. And you wouldn't have to pay rent, because these Q people heard us say in our apartment, you know, if you want to tantalize me with something, how about rent-free? But not rent-free so you can poison me. Are you fucking nuts? Not rent-free in such a small little place. Granted, it's bigger than this, but it was too small. We couldn't even fit our bed. And we have a full-size bed, you know, which is less than 2 twins put together. So I was like, we can't even live here. But we wanted to stay with them until we could figure it out. And then we were looking at other places to buy, because she promised us $55,000, and she reneged on it. She said, no, if you don't buy this place, you can't. And I was like, that's not me, that was my husband. And they're like, oh, that's right. So then we started seeing that Q is using their minions to manipulate their minds. But anyway, they're very heavily Q vetted because they're into oil, and you know that whole thing about oil, and there's a Q person in oil, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And yeah, I don't give a shit that I'm saying this. We already have bounties on our heads. What, we're gonna have bounties on our heads? It's already like that, so what the fuck? You know, I'm not afraid of these people. And shame on everybody who hasn't come forward and helped and actually, you know, not hint drop. I mean, we're just saying Q, and we're basically listing names. What? Guys, this is bravery, so I don't want to hear any fucking shit about our character or us, because you're not doing this. We are. You know, you need to earn my respect now. I ain't trying to earn yours. I've done enough. And I'm stopping, because it's like that I never even agreed to do this. We were pushed out of our home. Let me get back to my family here. Extended, you know, via marriage. We were basically told, we can't talk about my being raped anymore. I had to give up my ministry. You know, and I don't see Red Ribbons as a Christian ministry, but let's just say it was. Why would my husband's mother, who professes to be a born-again Christian, tell me I had to stop a born-again Christian ministry that actually helps people? It made no sense to me, so I'm like, are you even a Christian? Like a real good Christian? Where's your fruit? Because right now you're treating me like crap. So you reneged on $55,000 that we should have had to buy a home. And she said, oh no, you can buy something else. So we were looking at another home, and that changed too. And then all of a sudden, her refurbishment on her house started costing her more and more and more money, and it shouldn't have. My dad's in construction. I could have fixed her place for a lot less money. My dad's like $10,000, 3 weeks tops. And here we are, several tens of thousands, almost 100,000 something dollars later. She still has a little shit single wide trailer, and she got ripped off. And I want to stand up for her, and I'm ridiculed for doing it. I'm like, okay, then to hell with it. Sorry, the Bible says to look out for your elders, so I do what's right. That's sad to say. The Bible isn't bad, as long as you're a good person that's using it right. And so I do what's expected of me, and I'm like actually not pretending to be a Christian, but trying to behave in a good manner. That's just what's right to do. And then I took the Christianity thing serious, not the fake pastor thing who's the head of Q. I appall that, and it's disgusting. That person is a false Christ, okay guys? He is a wolf in sheep clothing. I'm talking about if there really is a real Jesus, modeling my character after that, which I did. You know, you look out for your elders. I'm like, you're getting ripped off. Let me help you. Do you want me to talk to these people? I'll get your money back. I'm very good at that. And you just have to threaten a lawsuit, and you file one, and you just show. You said this, this is what we paid, and this is what it should have cost. And my dad would have helped, and, you know, I would have helped. I don't mind, you know. But, okay, that didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, then she ridiculed my husband, saying he needs to work at Walmart stocking shelves. No, he doesn't. Every time we go in there, all this dust flies out from their ceiling. Okay, I think that we're getting poisoned. What do you think? Right?
Oh, yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, so, you know, and I stood up for him, and I was like, no, he's gifted with music and all this. It's like he wants to do something better. So I was ridiculed. I stood up for him, and I was ridiculed for it. And then, basically, it became like, his sister said it was a row. I was like, I didn't even raise my voice, pull the tapes. I was like stunned. I was like, oh my God, why are you doing this to me? And she's like, get out. She kicked us out. I was like, wait, I'm doing everything godly. I said, hey, I got my guitar out, and I was like, do you want to sing some worship music, Mimi? And she's like, oh no. I'm like, okay, I thought that would please her. She said she was a born-again Christian. And she did some terrible things to me before we were married. She got involved, and she said, you can't marry Noelle because she's not a Christian yet. I accepted Christ in my life on my wedding day. So my husband got everything he wanted, and so did my mother-in-law, and that wasn't good enough. And she would call me up throughout these years saying, you have to be like this, you have to be like this. I was like, wait a minute. I'm a godly person already. My husband wants me to do this. And then so she would shut up because he would say, leave her alone, me alone. And, yeah, there were a lot of problems. You know, I loved her. And I say loved because that's past tense now. This person treated us very badly in our time of need. And I said, we're going to die. We're getting sick in our apartment. Oh, you won't die. You're not sick. It's allergies. I was like, this is not an allergy. Hair falling out that's not an allergy. It's chemical. I said, you want to see evidence of people actually harassing us and doing all these horrible things? No. She didn't want to see it. So she knows about Q. And that's why Christopher Kenneth Cale has KKK in it, because apparently when you use K, C, Q, X, it supposedly says you're vetted and to leave you alone. So, because my husband's Native American, and there's a Native American Indian somehow connected and all this stuff. But, you know, I just don't care, guys. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I care about the effects of it. That's why we are standing up against it. But all these little ins and outs and everything like that, it's like, just tell me who the names are and we'll put them on a lawsuit. Stop making games out of this. It's that easy, you know? You got somebody here who's standing up. But I'm ready to just say, bye, have fun on your own. Why? Because we're out here in our SUV freezing or being poisoned. I mean, this isn't worth it to us. We haven't gotten shit for this. My family got rescued. Okay, so you know what? There's just a whole bunch of bullshit that happened along the way. So, Trump loses the election, and then I'm like, oh shit, now what? Because we kind of started this with him. And, you know, it's like, well, you know how many 6 to 8 week periods have gone by since we keep sending follow-ups, and we have evidence that everybody received this stuff. Okay, we distributed all of this to many people, so if anything happens to us, y'all are still kind of screwed. So we put ourselves in a situation where nobody can really knock us off because we're everybody's alibi. We're the Q people's alibi. We're the people in the government's alibi. We're Trump's alibi. We're everybody's alibi. Anything happens to us, everybody gets decimated, okay? So everybody has to keep us alive, and they're just hoping, oh, let's use COVID. Let's poison them, you know, and here we are getting through it with flying colors all this time. And I'm not saying we didn't feel the effects of it. Obviously, we're like you guys, you know, we all put on the 20 to 30 pounds, and we all lost our hair. Obviously, we all went through the swollen eyes, swollen face thing, and the weird hormone thing. And, you know, we're suffering it. We are outdoors. This shit don't protect you. We're outside in this 24/7, or we were inside of it. A building or something. It doesn't matter, guys. Really, we're getting more exposure than you are. When you're inside, you don't have to worry about the tailpipe thing or the airplane thing, obviously. And I know it's not fun to be exposed to it and have it piped into your home, but if it's your home, hey, I can come to your home and say, oh, it's these pipes. Because my dad was into construction. You know, so we were trying to buy a house so we could rip the shit out and not have to worry about it. But then you have to worry about your neighbors doing this shit to you, and then people parking in front of your lawn, you know, and you know how that goes, right? And they dispense, and, you know, this is just a horrible thing. Anyway, so we're here trying to stop Q, and so we're waiting for our government to help us, and along the way, they decided... Like, we're getting these really weird hint-droppy things, and we're like, is this for us? Is this for us? And what does this mean? And my husband's getting very pissed off and annoyed at it. We are too. Because if you have something to say to us, we want official communication now. This has gone way too far, and you've endangered our lives. U.S. government people. So no more. You're not going to start a world war if you communicate with us. I know you think so, but you're not going to. We're already at war. You know, I don't know what you know. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but the thing is, you know, this has got to stop. And so the thing is, how do you communicate when you can't communicate? You hint drop. And you hope that there's enough context so that people get it. Well... I'm good at getting the visuals, actually, because when we were hint drop, okay, look, we were hint dropped to, well, my brother, sorry, there's so much to say. My brother said, get a U-Haul, pack, and just go. You don't have to tell me where you're going, just go. Be careful of the airplanes up, you know, overhead. Look out overhead or something like that. And tailpipes. He works for a battery company. Please, he doesn't. It's the battery acid, nitric acid, like Night in the Forest, you know, that whole thing. Okay, we figured this shit out long ago. We just didn't know it was Q. I called it the corporation because, not that it was a company, but a corporation, meaning a group of people that are doing very bad things. So I call them the they, or the corporation, the corp. And I kept saying World War III is a corporate war. I didn't mean like Amazon and Microsoft and, you know, that kind of stuff. I meant corporately. It can be a legal term too. A group together. You know. So, it was earlier this year that oh, they're called Q. And it just dawned on me, because I remember seeing Q hint drops all over the place. And it just dawned on me. And it was almost like I didn't hear a voice. I don't hear voices, but it was like something inside of me, that sixth sense, just said the letter Q, and I'm like, that's what they're called, I bet. And then I was thinking, well, is Q the name of what this COVID thing is, the plan, or is it the name of the group? You know, I was going back and forward, and I was like, it's the group. COVID is this bullshit implementing plan poisoning people. The coronavirus, crown virus, my heritage with the crown. They're pretty much decimating anybody that has any affiliation with the crown. It's pretty easy to see. So, you know, cat's way out of the bag. We fucking yanked it out because we're fucking goddamn tired of this shit at this point. Looking for my bottle of water. We lose things in here because the space is so small. I don't know where the hell it went. So anyway, guys, you know, yeah. My brother said, just go, so we do, and I knew we were going to end up just kind of wandering and spending a whole bunch of money, and our money is being drained, and then our vice president's like, go to the border, and then everybody else is hint-dropping to go to the border. I'm like, what fucking border? We ain't going to Mexico. I got my cancer treatment there, you know, but it's like, there's, what's in Mexico? What can we possibly do in Mexico? So we're like, oh, it has to be the Nevada-California border. So then everyone was like hinting that we were going to be rescued there, and it was going to happen on a certain day. We got there early. Yeah, we are that amazing. We get things done amazingly quick, early, and on time. You know how Trump says that, oh, they always come in under budget and under the deadline? Well, that's us. And we took that kind of thing seriously from his TV show. Not that I watched it, but, you know, we would catch the promos and shit. Oh, here's my bottle of water. And so you know, and we did watch a couple episodes after the fact, and I was like, well, yeah, we do that, and we're being ridiculed for it, and we're being treated like this? I don't think so. And anyway, so we left, and we were waiting and waiting. Meanwhile, we're in a parking structure. We had to sleep outside on the steps, and then we slept in the cab, and we just walked around at night. Just pull the tapes, you'll see what we had to go through. And no rescue came. And so we figured out that there was either no rescue ever intended, or something went wrong, that Congress decided not to support it. And I'm like, to hell with Congress. You don't need Congress to say okay. The commander-in-chief doesn't need approval from Congress. A Cold War, a regular war, it doesn't matter. To rescue somebody, you don't need congressional approval at all. So that's what's also pissing us off too. Because we're of the mind, just do the rescue anyway, screw these people. And so another thing happened where we're like, okay, now what do? We're like, let's just go back home. And then we had everybody saying, no, go here, you know, help is here, the hashtag help is here. So we kept going and bunny hopping to all these places. And we found things at these places. In Florida, we found that Trump's place is basically held under hostage by actors. Yeah, it's preposterous, and they don't know how to sling their weapons right. I was raised around weapons, so I know, you know, I know how to handle myself, guys. I've been around it, so it's like, it didn't bother us. We have it on video. we took pictures and posted it on Twitter. It's like, yeah, totally not afraid. And so we were asking, you know, are we supposed to be here? Like, these hint drops are just so stupid to us, because it's like, it doesn't really help. So we found out that every time that we went to any place that said help is here, it was just bunny hopping to get more clues to the puzzle. And then with the puzzle being solved, we were used to disseminate this information, because you guys know that we're very brave and bold, and we will publicly state what we find. And so you guys all used us as a shield to shield you to get our information out, or to get your information out. And so we saw that we saved President Trump's life, basically, because we basically blurted it out, and everybody was on alert. We said the same thing about the Capitol being, you know, in a prison. And then, you know, we bunny hopped our way to Washington, D.C. because we were like, screw this. Why don't you, because we've been saying, rescue us, rescue us, rescue us, since, last summer, because we were stuck. We were being poisoned, and we didn't know where to go. And every place we tried, it was the same bullshit, the poisoning. And then we found out later, every place is going to be poisoned, because that's how how the construction queues set it up. not our, we have nothing to do with this. So we found that out. And then we also found out that we're basically being hunted down, and there are bounties on our heads. So we had, during the debates, it came out. You know, so you guys have been hint dropping, and we're like, oh, are they talking to us? Are they telling us something? How do you communicate when you can't communicate? And then I'm like, why the hell don't they give us official communication? It's not that they didn't find anything. They can't deny it. We basically say, this is our property. This is where it showed up. Evidence. So obviously that is not what the problem is. It's not that we can't prove what we're saying. The fact is, we didn't realize how precarious this was. I'm just thinking intellectual property theft. Let's just, you know, resolve this real quick. Yeah, get involved with the right organizations within our government. And, you know, so we're getting pissed off that we didn't get any replies. That's why we ended up going to Trump. We're like, he's going to handle this, watch. We didn't know it was all this. If we knew it was all this, we would have handled it a lot differently. Not that we were afraid, nor we would have been if we had the dawning then, but we would have done it differently. Like, we wouldn't have sent our dissertation to the Q people within our government, but we didn't know, okay? So you can't blame us for what we didn't know, because you all kept it a secret from me, and apparently my husband too. Okay, so we had to start deciding what to do after we weren't being rescued. And we've been stood up, I think, 7 times now. So either the dates were never really the dates, and the celebrities, you guys, and us were psyched out, and our government had a set time and date all along, and they weren't going to be satisfied until we got all this information out. So we were used. That's what we kind of think is happening. And then, like, is it Jimmy Kimmel? Is that your name, sir? I'm so sorry. We spend so much time doing our own shows, working in the industry ourselves. We just don't know everybody's names. We don't watch TV. Not to offend anybody, but it's just like every time we turned on the TV, it's like, that's from our private argument. That's it. You know, I was just getting sick and tired of watching my stuff, watching my real life being played out by actors. I was like, that's our argument. What is it doing on TV? You know, so after a while, I'm just like, I lose interest. That doesn't even entertain me. I don't want to relive that stupid damn argument with my husband, you know? It was awful. So we're like, okay, so let's give them something that they cannot deny. If we rescue ourselves on our own dime, which has been tens of thousands of dollars that we're suing the government for, they have no excuse. So basically we took away every excuse for them to be assholes to us. And we're like, we're right here in DC. We've been here 2 weeks now. I was like, there's no fucking excuse. And I'm going to swear until the cows come home. Moo. I'm not gonna change who I am. I'm a tough girl. I'm sensitive too, and I love. I've got the right and left brain pretty well balanced, and depending on the situation, one will just kind of supersede the other like this. I don't know why that is. Apparently it's very rare. It's a good thing, and we all should be like that, apparently, but this is not stuff I conjured up. Apparently somebody wrote this and I read it, so I don't think I ever said it in the past. You know, sometimes I'm like, wait, I'm reading something I said in the past. Why am I reading my own stuff? And I'm not getting credit for it. It's like talking to myself. So, yeah. We basically gave our government no damned excuse left. And then we were getting this hint drop that we were supposed to solve a riddle. And I'm like, something is here. And then I reflected back on getting a fortune cookie thing. Like, you learn the secrets of the world or some shit like that. I don't remember what it was. And then I'm like, well, why do I need that? I already have the Bible. That's when I was thinking that was the end all be all, right? It's like, I have the Bible. Why do I don't need anything else. And then, so a few days ago, was it 5 days now? 5 days maybe? 4 or 5 days maybe. We went back to all the monuments. We've been here before, guys. We knew that the world was screwed up. We knew our government was messed up. We didn't know all the specifics and all the names of everything, your little code and all of that. But we kind of figured that it was pretty heady and something like this. So we weren't fazed. We're like, you made us solve this riddle and all this bullshit for this? Come on now. And it was a perfect response because our people were like cheering us on saying, yeah, that's like classy, as classic. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was right on. It was a perfect response. Why? Because we basically showed you have nothing to fear. And then we find the Delano Roosevelt monument, and that, I liked that one. It was really cool. And we walked through that. It's a pretty cool installation. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. Oh. And so we walked through that one, and he was the one who said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So basically that was my, what is this bullshit? You made us do all this riddle solving for this? This? You risked our lives for this shit? Look at our Twitter feed. If you can't see it, guess what? Twitter blocked us. I'll get to that in a minute. So, you know, we were having an interesting time of things, I'll say that much. And we were really pissed off. I don't know whose idea it was, but anyway, that little fortune cookie kind of triggered a memory, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is just coincidence or anything. Guys, we really shrug off a lot of this shit. We're not being dense, it's just like, why would we think that you guys would be talking to us? But apparently you are. There's just too much evidence now, and we basically got a form of communication saying that, yeah, what you're perceiving is the right thing. So I'm like, okay. You know. And then Trump was basically repeating words from our private conversation. Not intellectual property theft, but acknowledging that we were on the right path and all of this. Said, I never had a desire to do any of this. We were drafted. I'm not kidding. We were forced into this. How were we forced into this? Well, it's a dangling carrot. Who was Alanis Morissette? How about them transparent dangling carrots? Right? Is that how it goes? How about that ever elusive kudos? Yeah. Thank you, India. Yeah, I love that song. She's great. So, you know, the dangling carrot was a promise of rescue. It's like, how many other people did they do this to? I don't think many. But, so anyway, we made it public what we found. And then Marine One flew overhead the night we went to the Jefferson Memorial Monument. And they kept flying from MLK to the Jefferson, MLK. And we were at the MLK, and we have this all on video. And I'm like, what? I don't want to go over there. They got construction. There's going to be dust. You really want us to be around more dust, right? Okay, they weren't going to leave us alone until we went. So we go to the Jefferson Memorial. Now, mind you, we had the biggest epiphany about George Washington and King George being one and the same, the double, the monument, and the reflecting pool, all this shit. We did the Lincoln thing. We did all that. Excuse me. So we basically... Jared, can you do it again? Jared, can you turn the key on again? Sorry, the light went out.
Sure.
Thank you.
Right.
Oh, we did. Oh.